Oh, that just made me stop to think. Imagine that you were born in the 1900s. That means when you were 14, a World War One begins and ends when you're 18, with 22 million dead. Soon after the global pandemic, the Spanish flu appears, killing 50 million people. And you're alive at 20 years old. When you're 29, you survive the global economic crisis that started with the collapse of the New York Stock Exchange, causing inflation, unemployment, and famine. When you're 33 years old, the Nazis come to power. When you're 39, World War II begins and ends when you're 45, with 60 million dead. When you're 52, the Korean War begins. When you're 64, the Vietnam War begins and ends when you're 75. Now, that has to make you really think and make you understand, and the bells and whistles should be going off right now because we're going through almost the same exact reset that our great-grandparents went through. Because a child born in 1985 would probably think that the grandparents had no idea of how difficult life is. But they've survived several wars and several catastrophes. Today, we have all the comforts in the new world. Plus the world pandemic that happened in 2021. And we'll probably have a new pandemic coming on. All this during the war on terrorism. We complain and wait for perhaps one or two superheroes to change the world. And those superheroes wind up being in the political category. But we know that it doesn't seem to work like that. Every time we vote for someone, these superheroes do not do a thing. Not one thing to change all these things. We're going through another reset. We complain that we're confined to our homes in 2021. And of course we complain about the masks, but most of us that complained about the masks, we knew that there was a pandemic and it was a false pandemic. We knew this from day one. Now, let's think about those pandemics. Could they have been preset for the digital currency coming out? Could that be a preset for the 15-minute World Cities? Because presidents before us, way before us, warned us that this government is being infiltrated by corporations. And now all the people that are in my generation and the ones that gave birth to us that are still alive, that suffered through all of that I read to you beforehand, excuse me, we're all understanding that this is a facade. And yes, presidents have warned us of what was coming. And humanity survived all of those circumstances and never lost their joy in life, in living. But right now, the question seems to be, have we lost our love for one another in this great awakening? Because we do understand that being afraid of all those people over the fence, on the other side of the fence, across the other borders, gave us this impression, gave us this idea and way of belief. But we should be thankful, we should be grateful that we're still alive and that we're still breathing. Even though this big world is a huge stage. I wrote, a small change in our perspective can generate miracles. We could all stand together as one world population and not comply with the global leaders of the kakistocracy, of bad and ugly actors of the world stage. We should be very thankful that all of us are still here, still alive, still able to reach out to one another through social media or through internet. We should do everything we need to do to protect and help each other on a global scale, worldwide, globally. So do not comply. Unite globally. God bless. I love you in Lakesh.